Go.
You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker. What do you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Quan from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It is a tradition, just like Thanksgiving. It's us being live in Broad Ripple with our friends from Bud Light. I've actually been here staked out. I was telling the guys this a little bit earlier. I've been here staked out since about 1:15 or so. I want to make sure I get a good parking spot. And I want to make sure I am good to go with ice cold Bud Light, the great food, and the tradition that is Brothers in Broad Ripple the night before Thanksgiving. Because, frankly, this is where it all happens, and we have a lot for you. Colts tickets, Colts Pro Shop gift cards, your chance for that trip to Vegas that ultimately could net you Super Bowl tickets with the football toss. Needless to say, there's a hell of a lot going on here, and that's what we normally do in Broad Ripple the night before Thanksgiving at Brothers. So I always have to say this because for whatever reason this time of year, right? I mean, the gales of November kind of blow in. Gordon Lightfoot, shout out. So we've got the gales of November blowing around Broad Ripple right now pretty heavily. Do not let that persuade you from not hauling ass over here and enjoying one hell of a time before you get together with the family tomorrow. Frankly, if your family's like mine, you probably need it, right? You need this. It's kind of a buffer. It's like a prerequisite. It's something that you need before you get into tomorrow. So join us at Broad Ripple. We're at Brothers. We're here until 6 o'clock. All that stuff you can win. And there is a little physical challenge going on, as Chris Hammer can tell you, and Kevin can tell you as well. The football toss is here. And he may suck at it, but that's okay. I mean, you may not, and you could win some stuff in the process. We have an absolute loaded show. The only difference is there is no Chris Hagan today. I know Chris Hagan had to work, I think, on Fox 59 today and tomorrow. So no Chris Hagan today, but that's okay. We are loaded up. And a shout-out to Chris. We talked to Chris a little bit earlier. Obviously, as we told you about last week, he lost his mom, and, he's been dealing that. We talked a little bit earlier. And I like to sometimes poke fun and just to get the reaction from my mom. True story. So I got to go down there on Friday, down to Greene County, and then she wants to go down to Jasper. So my Thanksgiving is going to be taking her to Jasper so we can go to Trader Baker's, which is a big antique place. So that's what I'm doing with my mom for Thanksgiving. But we poke fun, but we obviously want to do stuff. And I know Chris was telling me a little bit earlier. He goes, hey, man, don't take these moments for granted. And I don't, even if at times I do poke a little bit of fun. Hey, we'll talk about IU last night, why it was good, why it needs to be better, but certainly why it was good. If you watched both Michigan and Gonzaga last night, that was fun as well. It's always this time of year, watching college basketball, you wonder with those teams that get off to incredibly hot starts if they can sustain or maintain. Dusty's team looked outstanding last night. Mark Few's squad looked outstanding last night. They meet later on this evening in Vegas. We'll get to that. We'll get to IU bucket game on a Friday. Your thoughts and a Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving, in this case, celebration at Brothers in Broad Ripple. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he is in Toronto. He's in Canada, so we had to call him. Evidently, his cell phone does not work north of the border. Jeremiah Johnson of Pacers TV joins us, the first of two Pacers TV guests on this show. So why does your phone not work up there? Is that something I just don't know because I haven't been to Canada?
I probably could figure out a call to the cell phone service provider and activate it, but I do know in the past when you take it out of airplane mode, you get a lot of charges, so I figure for 36 hours. I'm on Wi-Fi the whole time anyways. Who actually calls me except you? So it's not that big a deal, but of course you wanted to call me today. So hopefully you can hear me loud and clear.
I do hear you. It sounds like you're on like a CB. It's like C.W. McCullough from 1976 in Convoy right here. But I kind of dig that, so I don't mind that. I don't mind that whatsoever. I know that this weekend going into also means a great deal for you. I mean, not only you've been covering the Pacers now and working with them for a number of years, but doing what you did either at Fox 59 or back in the day in Terre Haute at WTWO Channel 2, the NBC affiliate. You have a great deal of love and admiration for high school football, a state championship, and the start of high school basketball, which is really for the boys going on right now or later on this weekend. It really is a special sports time around here.
It is fantastic. You just hope always the weather cooperates just enough, but it gets a little bit chilly. And to be able to have high school football state finals where you have really people from all over the state, come down to Indianapolis and support their teams, and I'll be able to work the 1A state championship game on the sidelines, which should be, a really good game between South Putnam and Pioneer. Enjoyed seeing Pioneer again after having the opportunity to cover some of their games with Jack Kaiser back in the day. So I'm looking forward to that, and always have a double dip on Friday with the Pacers home game on Friday night as well, and also good to see the high school basketball teams getting started this week as well.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and for you, I mean, it's just trying to see what Rick Carlisle and company can cobble together, I guess, before every game. That's kind of what you've been dealing with for the past month.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. We have had easy topics for Pacers Live pregame at the start because through the first 5 weeks, it's been who's available, who's coming off the injured list, or perhaps who do you need to know about that's wearing a Pacers uniform that you don't recognize or know with all the signings. So what you hope is that moving forward, that can sort of stop and you just have some consistent play with the guys that you've come to expect. I had a conversation with Benedict Matherin earlier today, and he's someone that you expect him, because he's so tough and he's never out as long as maybe he should be for certain injuries, that you'll just immediately be able to pick it back up. And you forget that when you've been out for 10 or 11 games, it takes a little bit of time to get your wind back. And whether his foot is just completely 100% healed or not, he's only been back 4 games. And so that Pistons game, probably if he was at his best, it's a win for the Pacers. And that's a Detroit team that has won 13 straight games. And so Matherin's only been back the 4 games, but you know how important he is by watching him on the court, and just to have another consistent scoring option alongside Andrew Nembhard and Pascal Siakam. I do feel like when you go into games, at least if you have those 3 guys, and then if you can just get something from maybe 2 other players, maybe double digits or 10 to 12 points or maybe even more, you got the big game from Jarris Walker, then you have enough to win these games, but you're also facing some really good teams who are playing well, and that is an accurate description for Toronto.
Is it Listen, I know that the expectation is for them to play hard and really work it like they did against the Pistons the other night. And, we get so many people around here, JJ, saying, well, it's okay because, you're working with a gap year. But, man, these guys that are going out there and playing their ass off, like, I don't look at Pascal Siakam, and I don't want to bring up any kind of damn gap year to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think anyone has, and if they do, they might want to be prepared for either a cross-eyed stare or a comment that maybe they weren't expecting, because he's not playing and preparing for these games with that in mind. And Rick Carlisle was pretty clear in saying specifically those 2 players, Andrew Nembhard and Pascal Siakam, they are prideful guys. They're desperate to win games, and they care about the organization and the fan base. And so they're not thinking in those terms. So everyone else on the team, I guarantee you those players, they all have interest in winning games, and they also have interest in their own personal improvement. They're not thinking that way as well. So you don't want to build bad habits. I can understand the fan base perspective if, you had an NBA Finals run a year ago, and if it's not going to happen, maybe you're in a position long-term that could help you. But nobody inside the team is thinking about that, and I think fans should understand that that's their perspective.
Can you tell, and I think this is just what's going to happen, it comes natural. Can you tell at times when, especially guys like Siakam or Nembhard, for example, you can tell when they get frustrated? Because I think I can. I think I saw that especially prevalent on that Western road swing. I think it's more easily now an opportunity for you to tell when these guys get frustrated because, frankly, I mean, even with Siakam playing as well as he is, it is so drastically different what is counted on for them and how they're playing, considering just how things went for them and the positive results they had, especially down the stretch at the end of last year. It is just a lot different, and it just seems like these guys, especially those two in particular, are working their ass off, and they kind of know, where they're going with this. And sometimes you can see a little bit of frustration, I think, and even the veteran guys.
Well, that was a stretch of 6 straight games with, losses by at least 15 points. So I don't care who you are, if you were, the Wizards or the Nets or, any of these teams that have been losing for a number of years. When you lose for a 2-week stretch, games like that, you're going to have a little bit of frustration. But, yes, I can see it. I can sense it at times. But you have to really look for it, and not to credit to those guys. They're not, going to be outward with their displeasure. And it's just a little bit of internal frustration, just, dealing with the situation. And I think something that Andrew Nembhard did say over the last week or so, I'm not sure which media availability it was, but that guys just need to play loose and free and not overthink things, not try too hard, because if he passes someone the ball and it's part of the offense and they're open, they got to let it fly. You can't hesitate, and that's what's needed to help all 5 guys. And I'm sure both Andrew and Pascal, they're prideful guys, and they are willing to accept a bigger role. Any basketball player would probably say, hey, I can shoot more. I'm capable of scoring more points. I don't have to. I want to do what's best for the team. But right now they know that's what is best for the team. So I'm not sure that they are having a problem with having a bigger role. You do worry a little bit over the long run. Will it catch up to them? And, specifically with a guy like Andrew Nembhard, how much can he guard, the best players and also have the ball in his hands and also be asked to give you 20 points per game? It might catch up to him. So the staff is cognizant of that. They want those guys to have some help, but at the same time, they are absolutely preparing and planning and trying to win games. And for them to win, they need a lot from Siakam. They need a lot from Andrew Nembhard, and I'll even lump Mathurin and T.J. McConnell. Those 4 guys that did it for you in that playoff run, those are the 4 guys that have to do it for you right now.
And a flipping of the script that you're going to see, and you've already seen it once, but that in the Toronto Raptors, who, started after Pascal Siakam on rebuild mode, and it looks like they've expedited that process. I know there's going to be no R.J. Barrett later on tonight, but they look really good so far this season.
Yeah, they do, and they have a specific game plan that when the shot goes up, somebody is going to run the other end to the other end of the court, and they're going to get a fast break opportunity. If you're a high school coach and you want to watch a team that executes and gets some easy baskets, you might want to watch tonight if you have a chance, because what they do is hard to stop. And there were a couple of plays when the Pacers played the Raptors, 10 days ago, where I didn't even think the Pacers were lax in getting back. But, Grady Dick one time, he immediately sprinted down the court, and there were 2 Pacers that just had about, 2 steps behind him and a perfect pass and a layup. And in this league, when you can get – in that game, I think they had 33 fast break points, so that's an extreme number. But if you have about 10 more than your opponent, then you're starting, with that 10-point advantage. And those fast break points are gimmies in the NBA. If you can get out there and transition, you're going to have an opportunity. So it's always a little bit of a yin and a yang. If those guys are running back, maybe there's a second chance opportunity that you could get. But I think the Pacers probably tonight, having played the Raptors once, they're going to be cognizant of doing everything they can to prevent those fast break opportunities and those transition plays. And you're right. The Eastern Conference standings, Detroit 1, Toronto 2. I don't know too many people that expected that, and it's a little bit unfortunate for the Pacers that when those 2 teams are playing well, you've already had to play them twice. So schedule's not been super easy while the Pacers are down, and those teams are taking advantage of it.
It has been flip-flop. There's no question about that. And teams like Milwaukee dealing with injuries, and that's the way that it happens. But I will say this, JJ, I constantly remind myself of where we were around this time a year ago. And we were non-believing. We really didn't buy it. And this went all the way up to really December the 9th and that Sunday disaster at home against Charlotte when I think the next day I kind of just blew up on everything. I thought, what in the hell are we watching here? And then, once they get guys back, you see them getting into – not what they were at the end of the year, but you kind of see things rounding into shape. And I guess that goes to show you just how long an NBA season is. It has many different layers as to how a team looks compared to right now and how they might look coming up, I guess, toward the end of the season. And the Pacers are a perfect example of that a year ago.
10-15 and a bad loss to Charlotte that you saw with your own eyes, and then everything turned around. And one thing that has happened the last few years with the schedule in the Emirates NBA Cup is if you go to Las Vegas, you're going to be busy and maybe it takes a little bit out of you, and we saw that 2 years ago. If you don't, you have a little bit of a time to catch your breath. You're going to have one additional game that you don't see on your schedule right now on the road and one at home over a stretch of roughly 8 or 9 days, and that's almost like an all-star break for these guys who are used to playing 4 and 7 days and back-to-backs. And so there is an opportunity for everyone, specifically the guys that are hurt, maybe Aaron Nesmith to get a little extra time before he needs to get back, for Siakam and Nembhard to get a little bit of a break, and for the coaching staff to get in the lab and work on some things that they think they need to see improve. And out of that little break, the Pacers will have, that 2-week stretch, let's say, towards the end of December. I think that'll really determine kind of where this season goes and what happens moving forward. Not to say, there will be significant changes, but if you get to the new year and you're 13th, 14th, 15th in the Eastern Conference, it's going to be pretty hard to make up the ground. So I will be actively watching, the next month or so, and specifically what they can do during that break, because they came out of the break a different team a year ago, and perhaps that can happen this season.
Hey, JJ, I'm assuming you're allowed to explain exactly the partnership that everybody has with Channel 13 and MeTV as well. Can you explain that?
Sure, I'm not the expert on it that Chris Denari is, but tonight's game is on.
Well, you know what though? He's on next. You want me to wait until Chris will give it the absolute definition? I can do that.
He'll go in great detail, but yes, we are on. I think it's WALV tonight, which is not on all the providers, but if you watch some of the Fever games, we're on there as well, and we're happy to have our signal go over the air to WALV for the first 4 or 5 games of the partnership, and then Channel 13 for a number of games January on. So, yes, let Chris be your expert, but if you're not going to be still listening to your show with Chris, that's a little bit.
But you're still where we normally get you, though, right? Along with that?
Yeah. If you've been watching us up to this point, you don't have to do anything differently. This would be if you don't have the app or you don't have the FanDuel Sports Network and you do have WTHR or WALV for depending on which game, you'll get the same show. What I'm not 100% sure of, I don't know if you get the pregame show on those channels, but yes, our game tonight is on the FanDuel Sports Network, pregame, postgame, just like anyone who's been watching. But if you've missed us or you just don't have the channel, you might be able to watch us on those channels for those 12 games.
Well, I wanted to make sure because I got to tell my mom. I didn't want to have to explain to her how to navigate stuff. So just as long as she can turn it on, and it is where it normally is.
Yeah, if you've been watching the games, you don't need to tell them anything unless they want to have a second TV or maybe something in the you got family in town. Maybe you got a guest room that has a channel that's only hooked up to the antenna. Well, they might be able to tune it in on that TV as well.
Well, hell, and then after you'll sign off, and we'll go right to Hogan's Heroes. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't know the WALV programming at 10:30 on a Wednesday night, so you'll have to let me know.
10:30 on a Wednesday night. I believe that is. Hey, James, look that up. That's MeTV, which is Channel 13. Like 10:30 programming on a Wednesday night. I'm thinking that's Hogan's Heroes. I think I'm in the ballpark with that right there, JJ. I mean, you're talking. Listen, we can't get him anymore. But I'm kind of like a TV guide right here.
Well, you're good, but I've worked in the TV station business, and I know the assignment desk. When you preempt programming, there's always going to be someone upset, and there used to be people upset about American Idol at Fox 59, or perhaps Jeopardy on Channel 13, or Wheel of Fortune. I hope there are no fans of Hogan's Heroes that call into WTHR and are mad they missed their Hogan's Heroes because the Pacers are on.
So I can't
believe I can't see Bob Crane. Go ahead, James.
I just looked it up, and it's actually Perry Mason on at 10:30.
Oh. You guys are the lead-in for Perry Mason later on tonight. That's big time.
We'll see if
from JJ to Raymond Burr we go. That's awesome. All right, my brother. I appreciate you. Get down to business. Get to work. We'll be watching later on tonight. To you and your family, have an incredible Thanksgiving. And we'll do this again very soon, my brother.
Back at you. Hope everyone listening has a great week and includes a little Pacers, maybe a little high school football, a little high school basketball. Plenty of options for you this week.
You got that right. Jeremiah Johnson, who you can find Me TV at Channel 13 later on today, but normally the FanDuel network where you get them. Pacers and Raptors in Toronto later on this evening. It's a rite of passage for you, friends. Seriously, you and the family are getting together. You got a big day coming up tomorrow. You've dialed in Friday and Saturday, high school football state finals. Yeah, maybe your Cascade with the sheeting action, Brownsburg, Westfield, New Pal. Get all that dialed in. But this is it right here. The annual event, Brothers in Broad Ripple, thank you all for joining us. There's not a damn reason in the world why you're not here. Ice cold Bud Light, great food, and it gets your Thanksgiving holiday officially started. You cannot have it until you join us right here. Denary, bottom of the hour, to Kevin Bowen coming up at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Mike Chappell's going to be here. Voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher. Hoosiers an 86-69 win over Kansas State last night. We will get to that as well. Matt Goins, my friend from AAA, wants to remind you with the inclement weather on the inbound, another reason to become a AAA member today. Or if you have a gift-giving idea, AAA.com to get somebody in your life a membership and the support on the open road of AAA. It's incredibly important. Do that now. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Do not go anywhere. Back in Broad Ripple at Brothers on a Bud Light Blue Wednesday with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
with JMV.
Say, man, you got a joint?
No, not on me, man.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Hey, James, what are you guys having at your place? You guys do the traditional turkey?
We do turkey, we do ham, mashed potatoes, all the good stuff.
Man, I used to. All right. What is the worst thing all time on anybody's Thanksgiving menu with your family? Do you have something in mind, James? Worst thing all time? Because I do. But go ahead.
I don't know if there's anything specific. I honestly am not a big fan of turkey, so that's kind of my least favorite thing.
I love turkey. It's high in protein, James. High in protein, low in fat. Turkey, that bad boy up. Now, back in the day, when my grandparents lived in Speedway, and actually even before that, when they lived in Greene County, they moved to Speedway off of 15th Street between Lyndhurst and Winton. For a number of years, James, we would go up there, and my grandmother's brother Joe and his wife Ruth would bring what we like to call a little dab of peanut salad. So she would make Ruth would make peanut salad and bring it in a really small, like, saucer. There was only enough for, like, one person to eat. And that's good because nobody ever wanted to eat it because it looked like the most disgusting thing of all time. Have you ever seen the film, the original, The Blob? Remember when The Blob, like, moved around? It was really fake looking, but it looks. That's exactly what her peanut salad looked like.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And the other thing about Joe, God rest his soul, is he's a guy that he would dumpster dive, and he would pick up every penny and every coin that he saw on the ground. So we used to, like, before they got there, throw, like, pennies in the driveway and in the yard and stuff and see how many he would get before he came in.
That's so mean. Oh, man.
It's so bad. I know it. I know this. I mean, yeah, I've got to make amends on a lot of things. That would be one. You know what I mean? That would be one right there. Joe and Ruth and the little dab of peanut salad. The text stream is active at 317-239-1070. You can tell me what you don't like that has been on the menu or still may be on your Thanksgiving menu. Meantime, brothers in Broad Ripple, the tradition continues here. We would love to see you on a Bud Light Blue Wednesday. Colts tickets to give away, the football toss, and your chance to win a Colts Pro Shop gift card as well. And remember, AAA.com to become a AAA member today. I'll explain coming up in a second. Meantime, in the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he is also staked out in Toronto right now, getting set for the Pacers later on tonight. I want to work in a happy Thanksgiving to our good friend Kristen Neri as he embarks on calling a game tonight. And, of course, having a Thanksgiving with he and now his extended family, his extensive family here in Central Indiana. Chris, happy Thanksgiving to you. How are you?
Thanks so much, John. I just got off the phone with your favorite, Terry Denary, and she said it is brutally cold, so that when we get back at 1 or 2 in the morning tonight, it is going to be frigid. So, looking forward to a nice holiday tomorrow. Our daughter-in-law, Emma, and our son, Will, and grandson, Archer, are hosting over at their house in Westfield, so we'll be doing that sometime in the afternoon tomorrow.
Worst thing on the menu, past or present, for Thanksgiving? You absolutely look over and you know when it's out there. You're not eating it. What is it?
I'm pretty good at Thanksgiving. I like pretty much everything. I mean, one of my favorites was my mom's green bean casserole. I mean, when she made that, you knew it was a special time. Love green bean casserole. I mean, I guess I would say I'm not a big cranberry guy.
Me either.
I think everything else, stuffing, dressing, mashed potatoes, turkey, ham, green bean casserole, any kind of pie, all of that is good. But I would have to say, the cranberries probably are, I'll eat them, but they're way down on the list.
I don't know if I'm not having the traditional meal tomorrow. I don't know when the Pilgrims landed on Plymouth Rock. I'm not quite sure that they were thinking about salmon and cottage cheese. Were they?
I don't think so, John. I think you might be the only one tomorrow that is partaking in salmon and cottage cheese. That does not sound like Thanksgiving.
Oh, my goodness. It is so Thanksgiving. It is. By the way, too, James, give us an update on the Meet TV later on tonight to make sure everybody knows that I was accurate about what's going on. I'm sorry. I will say myself. So you get the Pacers on Meet TV. Now, normally on FanDuel, you can catch them where you normally do, but also tonight on Meet TV with that partnership with Channel 13 and Meet TV. Now, after the Pacer game tonight, they'll go right into Hogan's Heroes. So there you go. I was right about that. I love having options in life, and we have a lot of options, even more options now, which will be a good thing, Chris.
Yeah, that's 11 games. It was just announced this week. The first 4 are on WALV or MeTV, and then the final 7 of the 11 will all be on WTHR Channel 13 after the first of the year. So it's a great opportunity for those fans that haven't been able to watch. We'll be able to watch. That's 11 games, free over-the-air TV. You know, I think I chatted with you, even despite, the tough start, the TV ratings are up, the streaming numbers are up, people are watching, and hopefully, if the other night, I thought the Pacers, if they play like they played on Monday night, John, against a very good Detroit team, they'll win games. I thought that was what they needed to do. They came up a little bit short, but I think they're playing better. They're getting a little bit healthier, still not great health. But if they can do some of the things that they did on Monday night, it'll be good. Now, this is a Toronto team tonight, John. They've won 8 straight, 6 straight at home. And I was looking at this. I don't know if you realize, last year at this time with the same group, this team in Toronto started 2-12, 7-26. They had a 7-game and an 11-game losing streak, and that's with Scotty Barnes and R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley and Pirtle and all that. So they're a team like Detroit that I think they looked at what Indiana did last year and said, hey, why can't we do that? And that's what they're doing right now.
It's Chris Denari. He's the voice of the Pacers. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I think one of the reasons why you're still going to get people tuning in and interested is because this team is going at it. I mean, they still go after it. They go after it at a hard, high level, which is the expectation. But we witnessed that the other night against the Pistons. And I think that's one of the reasons why they can still be entertaining, because that they're going to go out there and do their best to push the limit, even if the outcome or the result isn't what everybody ultimately wants.
Yeah, they're it's unfortunate. They're just a little undermanned. When you look at these teams like Detroit and Toronto, and Toronto's been totally healthy. Now, R.J. Barrett's not playing tonight. He's out with a sprained knee, but everybody else is available. Is Siakam and Mathurin and Nembhard and T.J. McConnell's played really well the last 3 games. Those guys have really played well, and it's just getting some help from some other guys. And I think we saw that a little bit on Monday night with Jarris Walker coming out of his slump, a career-high 21 points. And they had 7 guys in double figures. That's more of what we've seen over the years, especially the last 2 years with this Pacers team. They are at their best when they've got multiple players, 5, 6, 7 are in double figures. It's just tough to win when it's just Siakam, Mathurin, and Nembhard. You've got to have some other guys help, and we saw that on Monday night.
So, Chris Denari, voice of the Pacers, kind enough to join us. The pre-Thanksgiving show is the annual event here at Brothers and Broad Ripple with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan, a Bud Light Blue Wednesday. No R.J. Barrett later on tonight. You mentioned the incredible turnaround for the Raptors so far this season, which I think goes to show you exactly what can happen in an NBA season anyway. But some of the guys that we don't or haven't often ever talked about, anybody jumping off the page at all as far as, okay, I mean, maybe making their mark right here that you can reference in terms of being a part of the longer-term future with this group once everybody's back and healthy?
Well, I think what we've seen is I think Jay Huff the last few games has played well. I mean, he's second in the league in block shots right now behind Wembanyama with two per game. And I think Jay has shown that he can shoot the three. He shot 41% last year in Memphis, got off to a slow start. I think it took him a while to get used to the way the Pacers wanted to play. Their pace is much different than what Memphis played the last couple of years with a ball-dominant point guard in Ja Morant. So I think you're seeing somebody like him, start to elevate his play and play much better. And again, I'm bullish on Jarris Walker. I just think he lost a lot of confidence during those times when he wasn't shooting the ball well. And I think Pascal Siakam referenced it the other night, and I heard somebody mention this, that it might have been Scott Agnes of Fieldhouse Files, is that the other night in his catch-and-shoot opportunities, Jarris only dribbled 9 times, and a few of those dribbles were to the basket for a layup. And so I just think his decision-making was much better, much quicker, and that enabled him to have some confidence shooting the ball. And again, he shot 41% last year in a different kind of role. They're asking more of him right now because of the injuries to Nesmith and Toppin. It was good to see him respond on Monday night.
Well, and the thing with Walker is when you see him at his best, there's not a lot of thinking, not a lot of dribbling, not trying to get into a place where he feels comfortable. He just plays. And what you have to do is you got to put together games back to back to back, a succession of games like that, because you do see it occasionally, but Chris, you don't see it enough, and I think that's what concerns most.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point, and we saw it earlier in the year. He had a couple of really good games against Dallas and Atlanta, and then did not back that up. And so I think this is just a situation, and his teammates trying to give him more confidence. I think the real advantage the Pacers have for some of these young guys is Pascal Siakam and how he established his career here in Toronto. Remember, he started out in the G League and then worked his way up, and so he's a very good voice for a lot of these young guys. And Jarris is still young, staying in their ear, making sure they're focused, making sure they understand what it takes, as you said, John, to be more consistent game in, game out.
All right, got you later on tonight. I think it's called Me TV with Channel 13, but also the normal spot is with FanDuel, Pacers and the Raptors later on this evening. Of course, that game also right here on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan, tip time tonight, 7:30. Pregame coverage right here on The Fan, along with Chris and the gang, also can be seen and heard in this case at 7 o'clock. Hey, for you and the family, have a fantastic Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow, and we'll catch up coming up next week, and hopefully you get a little reason to feel better. And obviously everybody's looking for more positive results, but hopefully that's the case sooner rather than later. Chris, thank you.
All right, thanks, John.
Chris Denary on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We're at Brothers in Broad Ripple. Let me take a break, and we'll come back. Bowen at the top of the hour. So Daniel Jones dinged up. Did you guys notice Daniel Jones being dinged up? Is that going to have an effect coming up on Sunday? And not only are we talking about a must-win on Sunday at home against Houston, that's a foregone conclusion. I mean, any jackass can understand that. But what about Jacksonville on the road a week after? And you got teams coming up now in the rear view that you got to do something about, don't you? So we'll do that coming up on the other side. We'll converse about that and the Colts. Kevin Bowen coming up top of the hour. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, IU a winner last night over Kansas State. Defensively speaking, especially against that Kansas State team with P.J. Haggerty and over 93 points per game, defensively it was impressive. There's still things you have to put together. We'll talk about that and the bucket game coming up on Friday with the voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher. He's going to join us coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 as well. We are in Broad Ripple. The annual event is at Brothers in Broad Ripple. Great food, ice cold Bud Light. Your chance to win a lot of stuff, including Colts tickets, a gift card to the Colts Pro Shop, and maybe with the football toss, a visit to Vegas, and then maybe after that, a Super Bowl appearance. We shall see. Brothers in Broad Ripple, our annual event the night before Thanksgiving. we are here. And brothers, would love to see you here as well. Bud Light Blue Wednesday with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Now talk to him, damn it. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
When Schuler Spreadability brings us to you on this night before Thanksgiving, original sharp cheddar, bacon and cheddar, jalapeno pepper, the snackability, the heavy level elite status of snacking with crackers and chips and vegetables and whatever you're doing, make sure Win Schuler's is a part of it. Win Schuler's Spreadability, you'll find it at Meyer locations, Gordon Food Service, and at Neiman's Harvest Market in Carmel. That is Win Schuler's. We are at Brothers in Broad Ripple, Bud Light Blue Wednesday. Thank you all for joining us. You know, one thing I didn't get into with either JJ or Chris on this is how you have a lot of rumors swirling right now regarding TJ McConnell and the possibility of he being available. That would break my heart right there. But I'm assuming, would TJ McConnell be as good with anybody else doing what he does off the bench as he has been with the Pacers? And I'm meaning as essential as he is? Get back to that in just a second. Joe Burrow is active and will start coming up tomorrow versus the Ravens, one of the 3 Thanksgiving Day games. Joe Burrow is back for the Bengals, and so I should say in this case is Darnell and Broad Ripple, because we are at Brothers in Broad Ripple. D, you got something to say to the good folks out there?
Hey, John, how you doing? Thanks
good, buddy.
Hey,
are you going to miss the JMV takeover?
Yes, I will miss the JMV takeover, like I told you last Saturday when I
you
called.
Did.
I'm always listening, but I'll call in every now and then. But I'm a P1 listener.
Right.
What I want to let you know is, like I told you last week, we in Indianapolis is thankful for all the people here at the Fan. Where I know all you guys personally, like Greg, Jake, yourself. But what I'm saying is, music and sports brings everybody together.
Damn right it does, D.
And you have that great platform to do it. So I want to. We're Indianapolis is lucky to have you, John. And like I said, I know
that's very kind of you.
Like I said, I've been knowing you since 2000. Since you was in the small chair in POS. So.
Yes.
But no, I just wanted to just throw that out to everybody. We are lucky, but because I love sports and music. That's all I like, being positive around that stuff. But I wanted to say, hey, next year will be the 25th season of the Indy Thunder
I've heard
baseball
of them.
team.
Yes.
So there's a lot going on in the hopper. There's a lot of things that we want to do. We're going to try to go back-to-back as world champs. We were undefeated this past year. But no, hopefully we can get the fan support. And we're doing a silent auction, a gala at the Indianapolis Arts Center. So maybe I can get with you and the Fan. We can do some silent auction things to help us try to get to the World Series in Chicago. But, yeah, we represent the city. We've been in the city since 2000. And like I said, we're a staple. But I appreciate your support, the fan support. And, again, John, we are lucky to have you as doing sports and music.
My brother, thank you. Thank you for coming out, too. Have a great Thanksgiving, D.
You likewise, John.
Darnell and Broad Ripple, because that's our location. We're at Brothers on a Bud Light Blue Wednesday. We've got Colts tickets to give away, Colts Pro Shop gift cards, your chance to maybe to win a trip to Vegas out here, too. Brothers and Broad Ripple, it is awesome. We would love to see it. Don't worry about the weather. All right, sidestep the weather and join us here. Ice cold Bud Light, great food. Quick break, we'll come back. Kevin Bowen on the other side. What his night before Thanksgiving used to look like here in Broad Ripple, plus the fibula concerns of Daniel Jones prior to the Houston game on Sunday. Kev's going to join us on the other side. The stream, the app, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Become a AAA member today. Get that for somebody in your life for a holiday gift-giving idea. AAA.com today. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
JMV.
And the beat goes on, yeah. And the beat goes on.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
All right, welcome back. Night before Thanksgiving is at Brothers in Broad Ripple. We'd love to see you Bud Light Blue Wednesday. Colts tickets to give away, football toss going on, Colts Pro Shop gift card. One hell of a fun time here. We would love to see you. Who gives a damn about the wind and the cold and all that? All right, just bundle up and join us out here for an ice cold Bud Light and great food at Brothers in Broad Ripple. We've got a lot more for you coming up. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, IU a winner last night. We'll go over the basketball angle and then the bucket game on a Friday in West Lafayette. We'll do that with Don coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. Mike Chappell. Colts and Texans conversation coming up at the 5 o'clock hour as well. But on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, I'm going to work this in right here. I've got an exercise for Kevin Bowen from the Fan Morning Show. Weekday morning, 7 until 10 a.m. He and Jeff Rickard and James Boyd. It's Kevin Bowen who joins us now. So a couple of things here. One, I'll start here. Will Notre Dame score 10 points before we end this conversation?
The banked-in 3 was. You mean 10 points for the game, or do you mean 10 points?
Yes, 10 points. 10 points for the game. I wonder, will they score? Will they be in double figures in this first half before we end our conversation? And yeah, the reason why they sit on 7 right now is because that dude banked in a straight-on look from 3. That's great.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they outscore Syracuse football right now. Notre Dame basketball versus Syracuse football might need to be the game here. Pathetic. There's nothing
Harrelson got him to 8, right? Harrelson just got him to 8. Maybe he gets him to 9. So I think we can get them to the double-digit mark by the time our conversation ends here. I think so.
There's nothing sadder in sports than watching your team try to dribble against Houston. This is pathetic. So. Yeah, nothing says Black Wednesday like watching this, man. I might need to stop in Brothers in Broad Ripple and drink my sorrows away.
You think that did Micah explain to them maybe that when you put the ball down that Houston probably is going to go after it a great deal? Was that in the pregame plan?
No, I think we were at the Rhino a little late last night. Can we just blame it on that?
I'm telling you, it's 29-9 right now, with about 6:40 remaining in the first half. So now Harrelson at least is going at it right now. He's trying to give Houston a dose of their own medicine. So that part's good, I guess.
Yeah, he knows some NBA scouts in the crowd here. So ugly to say. I'm confused how these teams drew each other. I'm like, wait, how is the number 3 team Houston playing Notre Dame? But this whole tournament's kind of wild. It literally is kind of an NIL money grab, really.
That is absolutely all that it is. But I will say this. Watching Michigan and Gonzaga later on tonight, that should be some primetime TV at 9:30 from Vegas, because both of those teams – it's always funny to me, Kev, whether or not you're a team like Michigan and Gonzaga, you get started out so well, whether or not you're capable of maintaining all season long. But, man, you've watched – these two teams are playing at a high level in November.
Yeah, Gonzaga has been off to – there's a team that's – built a better, early season resume than Purdue. There's not many. I would say Gonzaga, maybe I feel like Arizona's off to a pretty good start well. So, I said this on Monday. I think you feel the same way. Like tonight, I'm so used to Maui championship night. To me, when you say, Gonzaga, Michigan, this great championship, I'm picturing Lahaina Civic Center. Everybody crammed in there. And, every team in our state has got a memory there. I think IU won in 2002. Purdue, I know, wasn't played there, but they won it a couple of years ago. Remember when Ball State went on the Cinderella run? This would have been 20, 25 years ago with Patrick Jackson and Theron Smith. Notre Dame won it. Bray was shirtless a few years ago. Herringody played there. And I just hate that, that to me was such a Thanksgiving, sports staple. Obviously, we have the NFL games tomorrow, but the Maui tournament I just loved, and the fact that now this Vegas tournament with 13 people in the crowd is, being the new thing that everybody's got to play, which I get. I get why teams are playing in it. They want the NIL money, but I just hate it because I have such great memories of watching Maui on a night like tonight.
Hey, because they're local, I want to ask, how do you think they got Lilly as a sponsor for that?
Is Lilly a play? Oh yeah, now I'm seeing on the scores table.
Oh yeah, and here's the thing, Did you see that their hook is Lilly, a medicine company? That's what it is. I mean, what can they ask me at Lilly for a better damn idea than that? Because I got one. I mean, what the hell? I mean, look, you could say Lilly helped JMV not be a big fat ass. I mean, that'd be better than that, right? A medicine company.
I'm just picturing your mug all of a sudden here at midcourt. Honestly, the only thing missing from this tournament is you know, before and after picture of you.
Yeah, I mean, you could say Lilly helping JMV not be a disgusting fat ass and maybe maintaining a bit of arousal longer than usual too, right? I mean, why don't they should just ask me that.
I said earlier this week when we were talking about the old roughing the passer penalty, which I think is the dumbest rule in sports right now. I said on Monday, and I hope you took it as a compliment. I go, what do they expect, Grover Stewart to turn into JMV midair once he makes the sack happen? I mean, come on here.
Heck yes, all of us. We got to find that's part of it right there. But yeah, Lily's a sponsor of this too, and I agree with you. I tell you what, it really hurts, that battle for Atlantis. I mean, hell, Eastern Green, I think, is in that. That's how bad that is.
And that, like, I thought was going to be the new Maui. You know, a little bit easier of a flight, I guess. And, you know, I didn't love the whole, ballroom feel to it. But I don't know. There's just, I know I'm a little get off my lawn with it. But I just love the Maui tournament. Love that gym. Even the Shamada angle to it I always thought was pretty cool. And, the fact that, now, and I get it, everything is just a money grab in college sports. It's, they're going to be playing football games in Saudi Arabia pretty soon just to
Did you see
make money
that?
for their NIL team.
Did you see that trophy? That trophy win? The winner gets from Vegas. I mean, it looked like something Tony Montana would have, like, hanging from his ceiling in Scarface.
It's like
Lord.
It's got some Fry Festival vibes to it. I feel like these teams are kind of like, wait a minute, we should make sure we have our money here before we get back on the plane.
Yeah, it is funny. I will say this. I like watch Dusty. I can tell you get, and obviously, I get the Greene County love for Dusty May, but his team is talented and they do go at it hard, and I can't wait to watch them match up with Gonzaga, but because Gonzaga ended up having to beat what was it? Who'd they beat last night by about 9,000 points? So that's how they advanced to Tennessee. You got to find a better way, I think, to find a championship, don't you? With this, than the whole points thing. That's weird.
I mean, just bracket it up. I'm not asking you to, get some net rankings going, and everybody just loves a nice, preseason bracket. I mean, that's exactly what the Maui tournament is. It's not the most perfect science of an NCAA tournament selection committee here. I'm not asking you, but hell, we all in college basketball is the sport for brackets. Throw 16 teams together, and I mean, last night, like, these teams didn't even know who they were playing until like midnight last night, which is just hilarious.
That is pretty funny. You like the TNT coverage? The new, with Weber and Rose and all those. You like the TNT coverage? I'm not gonna lie. I haven't watched too much of the old pregame, halftime coverage. So, but the little snippets that I've caught of it, I'm not a huge fan. I don't know. Is Pearl good on TV? Something strikes me he would be halfway decent on TV. Well, I think he was somewhat dying watching his old team and his son's team get their ass whipped by about 30. That was a tough one for him to do. But yeah, the Michigan guys are all excited because they're saying we. I didn't know that Chris Webber thought Michigan was we anymore. I guess he's back to them, us and we now. There was a time when it wasn't us and we for him, wasn't it?
Hey, good on Dusty, man. Pronouns are popular
back together again.
Today's society. If he's got Weber back, that's big time.
Us and we. Kevin Bowen's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I should ask you what you thought about IU last night, too. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to do better. I mean, you can't go up, 16 and then give that all back in a big hurry as they did and then turn it over. They had a moment in that first half near the end where they were turning it over at a heavy clip. But otherwise, I mean, you talk about engaged defensively. They did do that against a team that was averaging over 93 points per game and then held down a dude that was averaging 28 points a game and leading the nation and P.J. Haggerty. So I think there's a lot more to like than dislike about what they did last night. I don't know what ultimately that's going to do for your tournament resume when that is a thing or a deal. But, last night I thought was a good night for IU basketball, no doubt.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, them building those leads in each half differently, I think was key for them. They shot. They look like you with the hyper, with how many threes they shot in that opening segment. And, that's kind of the MO, well, at least the thought is with this team. You're going to live by the three, die by the three. But then, when Kansas State made that run to then create a game there for a little bit, I'm kind of curious, like, oh, boy, how's the rest of it going to play out? And they honestly then rebuilt the lead via defense and via driving and getting to the line, which, again, I don't think that – Darren DeVries, I think, has been pretty honest. Like, those are some question marks he has about the team. And, there was one moment there, early second half, I want to say just 5 minutes probably into the second half, where Tucker DeVries makes his first basket, and I look at the score, and they're up 17. And, again, when you have a team where your leading scorer against a quality opponent doesn't score for the first 25 minutes and you're up 15, 17, whatever it was, that's obviously something that you have to like as well. And the Enright kid, the Kenny Powers lookalike, he's exactly what every season ticket member at Assembly Hall wants, just old school throwback on the floor, doing it, not the prettiest looking necessarily jump shot, not going to be scoring a ton, but just makes so many little plays happen for him. And I thought he was outstanding last night, and a big reason why P.J. Haggerty didn't go off.
He's like Dane Fife with a mustache, with a pube mustache.
You like what Dane's working with up top, or you like what Kenny Powers?
Oh wait, Dane's not working anything like that up top. I don't even know if he could get that pube mustache going, but I think you kind of described Dane and how you described Enright and how certainly he plays. But no, I would agree with you. That is good. Hey, are you in the club like me that thinks that this whole fibula thing is a little worse than what we're being told? Because we know this to be true. It's not like the Colts have ever been completely transparent about injuries, certainly injuries in situations with quarterbacks. But he looked like he was compromised more than just a little bit on Sunday, did he not? That's not the reason why they lost, but there were a couple of times when you kind of wondered if indeed that thing was a lot worse than it was.
Yeah, even for Shane Steichen, they've been pretty vague when it comes to this situation. And, when this stuff happens, I tend to just go off of, okay, let's go off of actions. The words aren't going to lead us anywhere. So what are the actions? As you said, there were, I would say, a couple moments on Sunday where I'm like, well, that didn't look like that. Honestly, looked like somebody, leaving Brothers tonight, walking over to the Red Room when he was trying to scramble there versus, how he has looked. So, Germany, he had several big-time scrambles in that game. And then the other thing I would point to as well of just, maybe the Colts aren't as worried as, going into that game, they could have brought Brett Rippon up from the practice squad for a third quarterback. And, when they didn't do that, that kind of led me to believe, all right, they at least feel somewhat decent about Daniel Jones and an injury and all of that. So that's where I kind of go on both sides of it. But, it still sounds a little odd to me.
Yeah, me too. Now, are you in major concern zone? And I'm assuming you're on board with me. Must win Sunday, and then we're going to go ahead and fire this thing up for Jacksonville the week after, considering these guys in your rear view, right? Back-to-back must wins?
Yeah, certainly these are massive. I don't want to steal your thunder and climb into the must-win territory, but it's about as big as you're going to get within the division for late November, early December, and with how the standings are right now, I'd argue I'd probably a little bit more worried about Houston than I am Jacksonville, but it's Jacksonville that's a game closer to you. I think the home element of Sunday leads me to think that is the bigger game, just because if you are to drop this, you will have lost 3 of 4. The one win will have been in overtime, and then you're going on the road, again, at Jacksonville, at Seattle, the next 2 weeks, and Buckner is, still on injured reserve. So, there is just some heightened urgency. We're kind of talking about it a little bit on the show this morning. Obviously, if you look at the Shane Steichen 3 years, Houston, Week 18, the first year speaks for itself. It is a win and get in. Now, granted, that is still kind of the honeymoon period of it's year one, it's Gardner Minshew. Expectations aren't, grand by any means. Last year you had the Denver game. That was obviously a big game, but this one I just feel is a little different. To avoid of, oh boy, it's slipping away, a little bit of here we go again. Again, after Sunday, it's 2 straight on the road after that. So, yeah, I think it is a massive, just absolutely massive, and as is next week at Jacksonville as well.
Hey, Kev, might the right side of the Colts offensive line be the biggest sore spot, biggest issue right now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Part of me thinks we can't eliminate the left tackle either. I mean, I get that you have Bernard Ryman on islands a lot, but I think that edge group, and I get what you're saying with Braden Smith and Gonzalez, but I also feel like there's been some leakage on the blind side there, and when you face Houston, I mean, it's the best defensive end duo in the entire league. So with what Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. can do, they can wreck a game. They can do what T.J. Watt did to Braden Smith a few weeks back. So that's probably the biggest key on Sunday. Like I really don't expect Nico Collins to have a typical Nico Collins Colts game. I think that would be severely disappointing considering everything you have at corner. But I think it's just paramount that they are not making the type of plays they either made against Buffalo on Thursday night last week. That would be Anderson Jr. and Hunter, or again making those plays that we saw. I mean, that Watt play single-handedly changed that game, and these guys have the capability to do that. So, yeah, the Colts tackles, I think I would point to, and how you decide to help and all of that, probably the biggest storyline of this game.
If not, the biggest problem being the tackles, as you reference, in tight game situations. Is Shane Steichen the biggest problem?
Yeah, I think it's a little unfair to maybe label him flat out as that. I mean, there's a lot of good that he has done and doing, and from a play calling.
Hey, Kev, allow me to rephrase. Is Shane Steichen good when things are easy, but when things get a little rocky, a little haywire, a little difficult, maybe not so good in decision-making, whether it's decision-making or clock management? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think that's probably a better way I would put it. I in some critical moments, it's gotten really head-scratching for me. And I'll point to, obviously Sunday with, kind of getting away from Taylor to the degree that they did. Let's just bring up the 2 games I brought up earlier. Denver last year, monumental game, huge point in the season, and you dial up a trick play of Anthony Richardson and A.D. Mitchell. It's like, wait, what? You're going to trust those 2 players in such a big play? And then you go back to that, that 2018 or Week 18 2023 game when you threw the ball to Tyler Goodson on the 4th and 1. It's just a little bit of 2 kind of Tuesday and Wednesday. Oh, this looked good on the whiteboard. Let's draw it up here, and not enough. Hey, let's think players here. Let's think guys we trust here. Especially again in these critical fourth quarter, road moments where you got to go down swinging with the guys that got you there. So that's what I would point to. Again, it's a team that when you look at it right now, they've obviously lead the league in point or second in the league in points. Like I can't act like Shane Steichen is this glaring issue, but to your point, when the pressure's kind of risen up a few times and you get into these critical late game moments, I do feel like there's been some big time questions you've had there.
Hey, which is more problematic, having a bucket game on a Friday night or a championship game where it may not be beneficial for either?
Yeah, that is a great question. Yeah, college football's got to do something about the conference championship games. Yeah, I mean, I get from a historical standpoint, Indiana football is going to care and should care, and their fan base obviously should. But if you're an Ohio State fan, why would
you don't care at all?
one bit about Saturday night. I mean, there's just no care whatsoever. All you're doing is risking injury. I mean, hell, they didn't even go to the game last year, and they won it all. And, I mean, Oregon and Penn State both were outspoken about having to play in that game and, it not really mattering whatsoever. So, I get there are some conference championships where, like, okay, maybe it could. The ACC was one of those last year where, you could have a similar situation maybe in the Big 12 this year where it's a little bit more of like, oh, there is something at play here. But, next Saturday night inside of Lucas Oil Stadium, it's not going to be that. And it's a shame. I mean, you and me both are in the same boat. You want to celebrate events here and you want them to be as big as possible, but there's just not a lot to play for. And again, the history of the Indiana football program will lead to something, but if you really are trying to win a national title, there's no difference between the 1 seed and the 3 seed. It's not like there's a neutral site game in Chicago where a bunch of whatever Indiana fans would drive to. We're talking Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Peach Bowl, and Orange Bowl, I want to say, are the 4 neutral sites. Well, there's not a big difference to Indiana playing in any of those sites from a travel standpoint. So, yeah, I mean, I don't love either, to be honest with you, but you need the conference championships to mean a little bit more.
Well, IU fans are going to be fired up. There's no doubt about that. But I agree with you regarding Ohio State. So I haven't looked at this. What has to happen, for example, for Ohio State to lose? If they lose to Michigan this weekend, is there a chance they don't go to Indy the week after that? I mean, we know the situation with IU, and they go to Purdue and bucket game on Friday. But what's the dynamic there with Ohio State? Do you know?
Well, I think if Michigan wins, they're in, right? Because that would be 2 teams with 1 loss. Michigan
I think you're right,
has 2 losses right now. Michigan's 2 losses are to USC and then to Oklahoma, which obviously Oklahoma's not in the Big Ten. So, yeah, I would assume Michigan would then go. They would have 1 loss, and they would have the head-to-head over Ohio State. I thought I saw somewhere, like, for Indiana not to go, it would take, like, a 3 or 4 game parlay. I mean, obviously they're not going to lose to Purdue, but yeah, I would say Michigan. Yeah, if Michigan wins, you're looking at Michigan, Indiana. Now that's a little different. I mean, then I would think Michigan. I don't think a Michigan win over Ohio State. Maybe it would. Maybe it would vault them all the way up into the playoff. But if it wouldn't, then Michigan's playing for something. Then Michigan's on the outside saying, hey, we need to play for the automatic berth. But for Indiana, you win basically as long as Indiana wins Friday night. They are locked into a top 4 seed, which means there's a bye, and that's it. I mean, that's all from a playoff standpoint that could help you, playoff-wise. Because, last year we saw the number 1 overall seed got the worst draw. I mean, Oregon got the worst draw out of it, and it didn't matter that they got to pick the Rose Bowl as their site or the Big Ten goes to the Rose Bowl. I mean, Ohio State came out there, and we saw how that one played out.
So Jeremiah Love, you believe to be the Heisman Trophy winner. Is that true?
Yes, best player in college football. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. I do think we were talking about this earlier today. I do think it's a down year overall for the award. I don't think we have like a great candidate like we usually do. Probably statistically that would back that up.
Why is that not like the NFL MVP where it's got to basically be a quarterback? And you got to work so much harder. Why is that?
Well, I think the Heisman has got a quarterback bias too. It's not to the extent of the NFL MVP, but last year was Hunter, right? And then I think we've only had one other running back maybe in the last decade plus. So, I don't know. Maybe college football is just a little different, where a running back can, garner a little bit more of that attention. But I still think, both those awards, Heisman and MVP. Now, maybe people truly believe in like the MVP acronym, where it's like most valuable player. Maybe people look at the Heisman as a little bit more of the most outstanding player, and whether it's Reggie Bush or Eddie George or, obviously Herschel Walker, or, going back a little bit, maybe then it's a little bit more of a most outstanding player. But I think Love's the best player in college football. I know I'm heavily biased. I'm not sitting here acting like I'm not, but I think from an individual talent standpoint, a dude that's pretty much splitting carries, splitting reps, and to still put up the numbers and the highlights that he's put up, I think is deserving of the award.
That's Kevin Bowen right there, pissing off everybody that's an IU football fan. Well done, Kev. Hey, by the way, we're at the annual spot here before Thanksgiving, the night before, in Broad Ripple at Brothers. I'm assuming back in the day, and was there ever a time when there was a previous to Maddie moment when you tried to take home a little bit of strange out of Broad Ripple the night before Thanksgiving?
Oh, man, it's an annual Wednesday Thanksgiving combo between you and I. You throw the bait out there as far as you can. Yeah, nothing like a 2.5-week-old. I really hope Maddie's listening right now and she can hear me have to reminisce about a Black Wednesday. Definitely had a great time, or 2 or 3 there in my in my history. I would say perhaps an attempt or 2 back in the day, and probably like Notre Dame here in the first half against Houston. It didn't go too well for me there, but that's a hell of an establishment. Literally when I heard that you were there, I started sweating when I heard the read on air, just thinking back to my Wednesdays of Thanksgiving. So Godspeed to everybody out there. I can picture, walking to Casbah and thinking that the roof was going to cave in there, back door at Rock Lobster, hearing the siren. Oh yeah, all of it.
Did you ever pee in a sink here in Broad Ripple back in the day? Or was that just the girls that did that?
Yeah, I don't think so. I never remember the lines being
me either.
That bad. I'm sure in and out. I'm sure I pulled a McAfee in an alleyway and probably.
I've never had stage. Kev, I've never, in closing here, never had stage fright as much as I had when I was trying to urinate next to a girl that was urinating in the sink in the men's bathroom back in the day here. I thought, man, I'm not going to squeeze out a drop here. There's no way.
Yeah, I think that would lead to a stone cold, let me go back outside, and I'll try to pee again in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, that was tough. Hey, Kev, you and the family, shout out to Nellie, celebrating that first Thanksgiving with you and the Bowen clan. But you guys have a great time, and we'll catch you. I'll catch you coming up on Sunday morning, right? Rolling in to Lucas Oil Stadium. We'll do that on the ride to kickoff. Okay, brother?
9 a.m. Sunday, John. Happy Thanksgiving, and enjoy the hell out of Brothers.
You got it, man. Kevin Bowen, Fan Morning Show, 7 until 10 a.m. He and Jeff Rickard. Hey, James, did I get that right? Is Rickard doing the 6A title game on the radio? Is that Rickard?
I am not sure, but I can check with him.
I believe he is. Give me, if you can, James, find me the rundown of the play-by-play and the analyst voices on radio, because we have Friday and Saturday back-to-back here on the Fan of that coming up with the football state finals at Lucas Oil Stadium. Our location, Broad Ripple, Brothers, Bud Light Blue Wednesday. I mentioned football toss, tickets to win, Colts Pro Shop gift cards, that and a lot more. Don Fisher, top of the hour. Mike Chappell still to come as well. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
With JMV.
But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Shout out to Todd Meyer, the executive producer extraordinaire, who sent me the list here, James, of the radio broadcast group that will be handling things Friday and Saturday here on the Fan, or a variety of stations within our umbrella. 5A, Merrillville and New Pal. Is this right? Brian Jennings, Rob Moorhead, and Kurt Darling, correct, in 5A. In 3A, Fort Wayne Lures and the sheeting action of Cascade, everybody. That is 3A. 3A's Kurt Darling, Rob Moorhead, and Scott Agnes. Class A, Pioneer and South Putt. It's John Detail, Jim Leisure, and Scott Agnes. And then if you look ahead, coming up on Saturday as well, you got three more, which is just so great about this. 6A, as I mentioned, indeed, is Jeff Rickard, Matt Surface, and how about this, James? Nathaniel Finch. Nathaniel Finch doing some sideline.
Good for Nathaniel.
Yeah. 4A, Fort Wayne Dwenger, and Ron Colley is Jevin. Is his name Jevin Redmond? Matt Surface and Nathaniel Finch. If I pronounce that wrong, it's just par for the course because I normally do that. And then 2A on Saturday, and Duran and Brownstown Central. 2A is Brendan King, Jim Leisure, and Chris Lowry. So that's your radio group Friday and Saturday, and shout out to everybody right there. Even if I mispronounce your name, have a great broadcast. That is well done. I love it this time of year when all that is going down. I also love this time of year. We're in Broad Ripple. We have ourselves a crowd right here as well. We've got the football toss. Colts tickets were given away. Colts Pro Shop gift cards as well. Plus your chance to win on the football toss. I think you can win a trip to Vegas and then maybe ultimately from Vegas on to the Super Bowl in Santa Clara. That is with our friends from Bud Light on a Blue Wednesday. Normally Blue Friday, Blue Wednesday. I'll tell you what, James, we do need to do this right now as I'm thinking about this. Bullseye coming up on Sunday. That's the Texans and the Colts. Bullseye number 30, James, on the text line at 317-239-1070. Bullseye passes for Sunday. James will get number 30 on that bad boy, and we'll get ourselves a winner and go from there. BullseyeEventGroup.com. 10 a.m., the party starts. Number 30 on the text line at 317-239-1070. We'll get you 2 win for that pregame party on us. Yeah, I saw this via Jeremy Fowler of ESPN a little bit earlier today that the Vikings, and again, this is nothing to freak out about. By the way, Daniel Jones limited in his practice participation today with that fibula situation. But this was courtesy of Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. The Vikings might pursue Daniel Jones this offseason. And if you remember, Minnesota had both Sam Darnold, who is now in Seattle, and Daniel Jones on their roster a year ago. Hey, good to see you, Alex, from the shop in Broad Ripple and Carmel. But they had them both and chose the route of J.J. McCarthy, who was injured, and then Carson Wentz was there, and then he was injured. That was from Jeremy Fowler. I wouldn't look too much into that. But, again, that was a report earlier today. I think I would probably more concentrate on the situation with Daniel Jones and the fibula. And whether or not that is going to be kind of how it looked last week when Houston's in town coming up on Sunday. This is from Linda. JMV, your experts cracked me up. Kevin and you and a few games ago were heaping praise on Shane. Well, I'll stop right there. I was heaping praise on Shane in the first 3 quarters of the game on Sunday, Linda. I think what we were talking about was clock management and in-game situations, especially when things get tight. There's no question. Shane Steichen is very good when things are going smoothly. When he is dictating tempo, things are good. But as you saw in the fourth, and we have seen before with clock management, things can become problematic. All things don't equate to what you witnessed, for example. And I'll even get this better. The first half. I was heaping praise in the first half on Sunday, and rightly so. Didn't end that way, though. So that was the point to be made. JMV, did you know that Cascade, and by the way, Greg Rakestraw gave us this yesterday, Cascade on to the football state finals this weekend is the makeup of nearby towns, some of which are in the school district. Clayton, is it Amo, I believe, Stylesville, Coatesville, Avon, Danville, Eminence. Shout out to the Eminence Eels, by the way, too. Yeah, Greg Rakestraw explained that to us in full detail yesterday, which was absolutely outstanding. Top of the hour, Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers. IU basketball last night, a winner over Kansas State. We went over that a little bit, too, and more on the Colts and their matchup with the Texans. Mike Chappell, normally on a Thursday. He joins us on a Wednesday, coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. Bud Light Blue Wednesday finds us at the annual destination location the night before Thanksgiving in Broad Ripple at Brothers. Thank you all for joining us. It has been fantastic so far. We've got a busy week next week. And remember, no JMV takeover beginning this Saturday until New Year's Eve, because I am now on Christmas music hiatus. The hiatus is officially underway. Please miss me. We'll be back on New Year's Eve for season number 6. But the Christmas music hiatus on B105.7 is happening right now. Stream the app, HD Radio. Become a AAA member today. Now is the time, considering the weather. And also a great gift-giving idea. Get somebody close to you the gift of constant 24/7, 365 open road support as a AAA member. That's AAA.com today. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Text line availability at 317-239-1070. If you got anything you want to say, you can do it there. If you want to hop on the show, 239-1070 as well. That is quite all right. Brothers in Broad Ripple. Well, I was saying to Linda, who didn't like what Kevin and I were talking about regarding Shane Steichen. No, I was heaping praise on him on Sunday for the first half. But you have to, much like players do, you have to have a complete game, and that was far from a complete game. And frankly, some of the questions we've had regarding Shane has been in the realm of play calling or sometimes getting out coached late and certainly clock management. And those are three of the things that we had talked about coming off of Sunday. No, it doesn't mean that it takes away from the entirety of the game. The loss takes away from the entirety of the game. But you look at this team, they are so much better, and I think his quarterback is the same thing. They are so much better when they're operating in the comfort area that they have. And then once things kind of get a little bit rocky, that's when I think to all of us we would agree you have to go to by far your best player, and that's Jonathan Taylor. Now, in the case on Sunday, he wasn't running the football well. I think he averaged, 2.1, a little over 2, after the longest run of the day. But you also factor in when you go 9 consecutive pass plays, you work in a run here or there just hopefully to chew a little bit of clock, even if you're not believing that you're going to be able to run the football in these situations that Steve Spagnuolo is trying to take that away. The other aspect of it is, you want to try to force Kansas City into some uncomfortable clock situations or timeout situations, and they didn't do that either. Really, in the final 4 possessions, got out-coached and didn't accomplish anything. And that ultimately led to the loss, so that's why we bring that up. But no doubt earlier this year, absolutely, but certainly on Sunday, a lot of praise in that first half of play. JMV, no one has mentioned all week. Remember the play of the year against the Texans at home a couple of years ago when Shane left 28 on the sideline? What's up, Jay? Thank you, brother. What's that? Yeah. Oh, yeah, she did. Lindsay was all over the Jay on the north side is talking about Lindsay Monroe, who predicted this inbound winter weather prior to and during Thanksgiving right here. By the way, he was mentioning my hair too, Jay, when he walked by. We're at Brothers in Broad Ripple too on a Bud Light Blue Wednesday, and the reason why I changed my hair was because of Lindsay and Gina, if you remember, a year ago. I wanted to make my face longer to look thinner, which I don't know if that works or not, but we're trying. Absolutely trying. IU a winner last night over Kansas State. The bucket game's on a Friday. And then IU maintains the 2-hole in the playoff picture in college football as of last night as well. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you, pal. But Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers, we'll talk about that and more coming up on the other side as well. So Don normally on a Friday will join us on this Wednesday in the 5 o'clock hour. Mike Chappell normally on a Thursday. He will join us coming up at 5:30 later on today regarding the Colts and that matchup with the Texans too. Now, when you're thinking about the Colts, obviously this game is incredibly necessary on Sunday against the Texans at Jacksonville and then at Seattle. Yeah, the things get stiff. It is getting thick really quick right here. It starts with Houston coming up on Sunday. Bullseye opens up at 10. I'll be there at 9 a.m. The ride to kickoff from bullseyeeventgroup.com and the Colts VIP tailgate. That is coming up on Sunday. And remember, Bullseye also has your pregame party before the Big Ten championship game. That is coming up a week after this, the weekend after this. And it's going to be the best party. And because I told Kyle this, Kyle Kinnett puts together all these parties. Myself and DJ Skids, I'm going to do a little JMV takeover, or we will, coming up prior to the Big Ten championship game. So be ready for that, too. Hopefully you have your passes. We'll have more to give away coming up next week as well, maybe even one before the end of the show if you hang tight with us, too. Win Schuler Spreadability's got you covered. Hey, not only just snacking for hoops that you got later on tonight or football that you got tomorrow, but, hey, go ahead and put that on your Thanksgiving Day table. And nothing better than the spreadability of Win Schuler's original sharp cheddar bacon and cheddar and jalapeno pepper. You can find that Win Schuler Spreadability for elite-level snacking, or maybe even something you can add to your Thanksgiving Day festivities. Neiman's Harvest Market, Myers across the state of Indiana. You can find it at your local Meijer location across the state of Indiana. And, of course, Gordon Food Service. Win Schuler's. Quick break. We shall return. Don Fisher is going to join us coming up at the top of the hour. Mike Chappell, bottom of the hour. Pacers later on tonight. Again, tip time, 7:30. Pregame coverage, 7 o'clock. It's the Pacers and the Raptors from Toronto. It is a busy rest of the week. Thank you for joining us. Bud Light Blue Wednesday. We're at Brothers. We're in Broad Ripple, and a great crowd so far. We would love to see you here if you have the time and certainly the inclination to win some stuff as well. Don't go anywhere. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Become a AAA member. Do that today. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Here's Johnny. Don't. David Letterman.
Hi, David. I'm Grandpa.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Brothers, Broad Ripple, Bud Light Blue Wednesday. Man, you guys are outstanding. Look at James coming back here with a Thanksgiving thought. The late, great, and the incredibly missed voice of Dolores O'Riordan. Why did James play this? For the 1990s, there was an English band called the Cranberries, which goes with Thanksgiving. This is their song on B105.7. Sorry, I had to hit the post. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Christmas music is on B105.7. We're at Brothers in Broad Ripple, our annual event with Bud Light, giving away Colts tickets, having one hell of a time here at Brothers in Broad Ripple. Mike Chappell, bottom of the hour, but on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. He is joining us now. I don't know if Thanksgiving and the holidays and the game last night and a weird-ass bucket game on Friday compromises a visit to our table for me and our next guest, along with his wife, Susie. Don Fisher joins us. I'm assuming we're going to be compromised this week, right, the way things are going?
I don't think there's any question about that. We will be compromised on Friday, and we will not be there. We will not be at our table.
Let me tell you, I have such a great time. Thank you for inviting me. I love going with you guys. It is the highlight of every week when you guys invite me down there. It's great.
You just don't set the bar very high, John.
Well, I know. You go, well, I call this guy on the radio, and he drinks a lot of beer and watches us eat, and that's about what happens.
Well, we do have a good time. There's no doubt about that.
No, we do. We definitely do. I thought last night was a good time. It was weird, right? Because you get up 16, you lose the lead, and then you regain that lead once again. But the thing I thought that was hanging around the entirety of the time was a high level of defensive intensity. And to me, that was good, and that's something that will play even when your offense may not be humming it at particular moments in the game.
Well, that's key, John. If you can play defense as they have so far this year, for the most part. If you think about even the last two ball games prior to last night, that was not great offensive performances in either of those ball games. Even though the Lindenwood game was a 20-point victory, but it just didn't feel like it was the kind of the normal Indiana offense in those two ball games. And last night, they kind of got off to a really good start initially and then kind of faded a little bit in the latter stages of the first half. And then in the second half, they just kept the ball out of the Kansas State players' hands in the sense of them being able to take threes when they wanted to. It was just a whole second half performance of defense that I think initiated Indiana's pretty easy win over a Kansas State team that was averaging 93 points a ball game. So when you look at what Indiana's been doing defensively, I think maybe that is the one thing they can hang their hat on, and they should hang their hat on all season long, because there are going to be nights when you just don't shoot it as well as you'd like, and if you can hang in there defensively, you give yourself a chance.
I don't historically remember Darren DeVries having great defensive teams. Maybe I'm missing something here. I don't know if you've looked that up or not. One year at West Virginia, but while he was Drake, I couldn't remember. I thought he was more certainly renowned for bringing an offensive look that was really good to the table here. But his defensive prowess and what he has these guys doing, and the thing that stands out to me is more so Don than anything else is their activity.
Right. Yeah, there's no doubt. And think about last night and the performance that you saw from Connor Enright. When you think about what that guy does on the floor, and think this is the other thing. He was with Darren DeVries at Drake when Coach was there, and didn't follow him to West Virginia, but he came to Indiana after playing a year at DePaul up in Chicago. And that guy is just an absolute pest. I mean, he is just one of those guys you want to have him on your team. You don't want to have to play against him. And that's just how hard he plays, with the energy that he plays with, how he goes after things defensively. And the players after the ball game were saying that, he started talking about playing against the top scorer, Haggerty, for Kansas State, who was averaging 28 points a ball game. Here's another scam call. I'm hanging up on that one. At any rate, the 28 points that Haggerty was averaging going into that ball game last night, and he was determined that guy was going to get nowhere close to his average, and he didn't. He had 16 points, 6 in the first half, 10 in the second half. But it was Connor Enright who led the spark defensively for this ball club last evening. And I think his energy and how hard he plays, I think it carries over to the rest of the team. And if he stays out of foul trouble, you'll see that every single night. If he doesn't stay out of foul trouble, then he's sitting on the bench too long, because he can really spearhead a defense.
I love how you described Enright in the same light, but without the pube mustache, as you might Dane Fife right there. That was a nice reference you were making without making it. Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, like I say, there are guys that you love to play with and hate to play against. And Connor Enright's one of those guys that if he's on your team, you love him. If he's not on your team, you hate him. So that's just the way it is. Oh, you said play with and not hang out with. I got you now. I understand. So, yeah, that's a little bit different.
You got that right.
Oh, man. Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I'm going to go ahead and move on to football, because we talked a little bit about this last week. This Friday bucket thing. Is it as weird to you as it is to everybody else in the world right now? I mean, all that matters is you win and you move on, and we know what happens after that. But the Friday night weirdness of the bucket game, is it good, bad? How do you feel about it?
Well, I don't like Friday night games, because I've always felt like Friday nights belong to high schools, and I still feel that way about it, whether it's football or basketball. But, it's a different world we live in. I'm an old man, so I'm crotchety and don't like a lot of the stuff that's new about it. But if you don't adapt, you're probably not going to be around very long. And obviously you've got to do that. In my case, I think I look at it as a positive in this way, John. I think this is really a big ball game in the sense that it's one of the few Friday night games around the country. And it's probably one that will be watched just because it's such a big rivalry, and to see whether or not Purdue can pull off something that would be a miracle in a lot of people's eyes. But nevertheless, this is a rivalry that has belonged to Purdue most of these years. Over the years, Indiana has a decidedly poor record against the Purdue Boilermakers. And when you go to West Lafayette to play it becomes even more difficult of a challenge. So I'm interested to see this ball game from that perspective alone, and despite the fact that it's on a Friday night, it'll be under the lights, which will be the first time this year. That would be the second time, because they did play Indiana State under the lights too. So, but that's a rarity when these two teams play on a Friday night. I think just the second time in the history for the bucket game. So, anyway, long story short, I don't mind it. It's going to be on NBC television, which is national TV, so you can see it any place in the country. And I know Hoosier Nation is going to love that, because there are a million alums out there that love to see Indiana play when they get the opportunity. And this is an opportunity for all those people that don't live around here.
Yeah, I was talking about this with Kevin Bowen a little bit earlier, too. Don Fisher, the voice of the Hoosiers, joins us. And we'll get to those that are going to be available for the bucket game coming up on Friday in a second. But do you think that the way that you look at things, with the playoff now, does that make – and I don't think it is for IU, because this is such a new at this level thing. Everybody's excited about it. But like for IU, or for Ohio State – you kind of wonder where, and then ultimately for IU as well, where the meaning for a championship game is. And I guess how these things, and again, this is going to be new for IU, but how these things lose their meaning with the whole playoff situation, right? And I know we've never had this conversation before, because we never really had a reason to have it as we do right now.
No, you're right, John. We haven't had this conversation before, nor have we even thought about it, to be quite honest.
But it feels good. It feels damn good, to be honest with you, Don. It feels really good to have it.
Absolutely, and there's no question. It's exciting to be a part of this. I mean, what Curt Cignetti has done in Indiana the last 2 years, it's been unprecedented. And when we look at this Indiana football team and the opportunity that they have, and most people now at this point know about Curt Cignetti. They know about his philosophy, and especially the people that follow the Hoosier Nation and who follow Indiana football. They know how he thinks and how he goes about his business, how serious he is about it, how focused he wants his teams to be, and how they overlook nobody, and they play that way in virtually every game that they play. They go out there, and if they're more talented or a better team than the other team they're facing, they usually kick their butt badly. And if they're not as talented, or if they have a ball club that's right there equal with them in that talent area, they find a way to stay with them. And so far, that's happened this year. This team has played a much tougher schedule than they did a year ago. And in all these ball games that were circled on everybody's calendar that were going to be real challenges, they may have been a challenge, but Indiana met that challenge and won that challenge. And that's what excites, I think, the Hoosier Nation more than anything now, because this schedule was not as easy as it was a year ago. And Indiana's been able to go through this whole schedule and do what they had to do to win those ball games. And now they find themselves in a position they've never been in before, because they'll be in the college football playoff. Probably win or lose this ball game against Purdue. I don't think they're going to lose it, but it's possible, and there's no question that I think this team will be ready to play as if that is a possibility.
We should give a shout-out, too, to Colson Montgomery, the rookie shortstop of the Chicago White Sox of Southridge High School, who is an up-and-coming superstar in Major League Baseball that was rocking the Heisman Mendoza T-shirt at Assembly Hall last night. I don't know if you noticed that or not. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool, and I did notice it because, well, it was during a commercial break that they announced this young man, and obviously he pulled out that T-shirt, and that got everybody excited. So, yeah, it was pretty cool to see him, and you'll love to see that. That's another Indiana kid that has gotten success, and obviously is a really terrific player. And when he comes to an Indiana basketball game like that last night, you know that he's going to get introduced, and I think he enjoyed that part of it as well.
And in mentioning Mendoza for a moment, take him out of this question as an answer, Don, if you would. Besides the quarterback position this season, what has most impressed you? What I don't know if we want to go what player, what position has most impressed you as to why this team finds itself in the position that it is going into the Bucky game on Friday night? And by the way, hey, Don, I just got a scam phone call, too. I'm not going to answer this either.
Trust me, when my phone rings here and it's not my cell phone, I never answer it anymore unless I know the number that's calling me. You know what I mean? And I get so many calls. I get 1 million calls a day, it seems like. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I've blocked as many as I can. My phone takes about 250 block calls. It's been loaded for the last year now.
Well, my mom talks to them all, so I have to hear about that my mom talks to every one of them, all of them. Well, this was a nice young man that called me about my health provider and where I should change, and I'm going, oh my gosh. Sorry.
Well, trust me when I tell you this. I did that for a while, and then I realized, what are you doing? Why are you answering any phone call you don't see a name on there that you recognize?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So at any rate, yeah. What was your question again?
It was what position or players most impressed you outside of the obvious and Fernando Mendoza quarterback for IU this season?
Well, I knew the wide receiving core was going to be deep, and I knew that group was going to be special, and they have been. Here we go again. At any rate, I knew that group was going to be special, and in my mind, probably the surprise to me of all the positions on the field is the defensive line. And I questioned whether the interior of the defensive line was going to be anything close to what we saw a year ago. And the truth of the matter is these guys have been every bit as good interior-wise as they were a year ago. And C.J. West was a guy I thought they would have a real difficult time replacing, and yet they have done a great job. Tyreek Tucker has done a really nice job. Wheeler kid's done a really nice job. They've had 2 or 3 different guys in that defensive line. And Mario Landino is a sophomore, played quite a bit last year as a freshman. He has really impressed me. This defensive line has played much better than I anticipated that they would after watching spring ball and then watching in the fall, because I thought it still looked like it wasn't going to be quite as good, as disruptive as it was last year. And I'll tell you, I think that area has been a real surprise in some respects. And I don't know, I don't think it's real deep as far as, a lot of talent there behind those guys, but those guys have played really well. And even though Mikhail Kamara has not had the sack kind of opportunities this year that he had a year ago, he has been one of the most disruptive defensive ends in the country in quarterback pressures this year. I think he's in the top 5 or 6 in the country at pressuring quarterbacks. So he has made a lot of things disruptive with his play, and he hasn't gotten much notoriety out of it because he hasn't made a lot of sacks. So, but I just think I think the defensive line has surprised me probably more than any other.
Kamara and Surratt, good to go coming up on Friday, correct?
Yes, they are. They're both, Coach said on Monday in his press conference that both those guys would start. So Surratt's back after, I think, missing 3 games. I think he missed 3 games in total. And Kamara didn't miss any, but he did get banged up a little bit in that Wisconsin ball game, but he is ready to go tomorrow. Or Friday.
I think that you've definitely noticed Surratt not being out there. Because, I mean, as good as Omar Cooper has been, there's no doubt about that. I mean, Surratt is a go-to performer, and when you miss something like that, I think that oftentimes it shows up, and I think most recently it's shown up for IU's offense.
Well, and I have to disagree with you a little bit there, John, because Charlie Becker's come in there and played really great football.
There's no doubt
at that wide receiver spot as a sophomore, and he basically is the guy that took Elijah's place. And I think he's held that spot really, really well. And E.J. Williams is kind of the unsung guy of the starter or wide receivers. And E.J. has played really well. And he's probably picked up as many down-and-out first down passes from Fernando Mendoza as anybody this year. Passes that give you that 5 or 6 yard play where now you're not worried about second down and 9. You're not even worried about second or third down and 4 or something like that, because they've thrown a lot to him and those sideline throws that keep the chains moving and help the chains move. So I just think the wide receiving core is in total, along with the offensive line this year, those 2 positions have been as strong as anybody on the field.
I would agree with that. How do you think that Becker gets utilized with Surratt in his return?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but I don't think there's any doubt that they will have no fear of putting him in the ball game, because last year he was a freshman. He got very little playing time, but he did score a touchdown last year. I'd venture to say they didn't throw the ball to him 10 times last season. This year, when he got the opportunity, and he was playing before Surratt came down with an injury, but he was getting more opportunities this year than he had last season. And then when he took over for Elijah, he was spectacular. And the Penn State ball game, of course, everybody knows what the kind of catches he made in that one, but he did it prior to that as well. Every time he had an opportunity, he took advantage of it. So I just think this is a really good football team. I think it's as good as we've ever seen in Indiana, and they've proven that with their record and who they've played against and who they beat.
Oh, man, what a fun season this has been and continues to be. Now, what do you got going on for Thanksgiving? You got big plans leading up to that Friday bucket game?
Well, and we definitely will go to Scott's. One of my sons, Scott's, always been the guy that takes care of Thanksgiving because my wife and I take care of Christmas. We have her family here on one day at Christmas and my family here one day on Christmas. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are loaded here at our house. And then, of course, on Thanksgiving, Scott takes over. He loves to grill a turkey on the grill outside. So we go up to his place up in oh, goodness gracious me, Broad Ripple. He lives up in Broad Ripple. So.
Oh,
And
I thought
actually,
maybe he takes you to the Village Inn down in Ellisville. No.
No, well, he could, but he doesn't. No, they still have their home up in Broad Ripple, and his wife still teaches at Orchard, and so they go back and forth between because they got a place down in Lake Lemon. Where Scott stays most of the time there when he's teaching and coaching.
Oh, that's nice right there. So I'm in Broad Ripple right now. I'm not too far from where they live, probably. That brother's here in Broad Ripple.
That's definitely true. That's definitely true. Do you know where Billy Lynch used to live? Just across from Chittard High School on Evanston.
Yeah, I do know where that is. Yeah, that is not at all too far from where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah, well, they live in that neighborhood up there. I'm not giving you an address, just so people don't know. But they live in that neighborhood up there, yes.
Oh, gosh, that's outstanding. We'll have a great Thanksgiving with you and the fam. And then whenever we get some time once again, we'll hang out together at our table. And I for one, I'm really excited. You know, obviously, you still want to win. Oh, the championship game. The thought of that in Indy with IU fans is incredibly exciting to me. That's awesome.
Oh, it is. There's no question about it. They got to get past Purdue though, and try not to look ahead. Fans can look ahead, but players and coaches they can't. And I take more of the mindset of the coaches than I do the fan base, to be honest about it.
I can't even imagine how much of a nut punch that would be, Don. if that would be the reason why you wouldn't go. So, oh my God. So, yeah.
I don't even want to think about that, John. You had to bring that up, didn't you?
I know it. Well, you kind of did before me.
I know.
All right. Hey, have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see what's happening next week with you too, Don. Thank you very much.
All right, bud. We'll see you. Bye.
Don Fisher, voice of the Hoosiers on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So in terms of, and this is just a question for IU fans, and I guess I use the description nut punch, nut kick, steel-toed boot-wearing nut kick. In terms of that, where would that rank for IU fans all time? I mean, that would be the ultimate, wouldn't it? That'd be the ultimate shocker. And there's surely not any IU fans allowing themselves to think about that, but I'm just curious. That would be the ultimate right there. The ultimate nut kick. Mike Chappell on the other side. Daniel Jones playing with his fibula. Does he notice that? Does it affect him when he's out there? We'll get to Mike with that question coming up on the other side. And then Houston coming up on Sunday, too, and the possibility. And we talked yesterday with Seth Payne about the return of one C.J. Stroud. We'll do that and more with Mike Chappell coming up on the other side. Stream the app, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Become a AAA member today. Bud Light Blue Wednesday. We're in Broad Ripple at Brothers. Do not go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Best friend, he's my pal. He's my homeboy, my rotten soldier. He's my sweet cheese, my good time boy.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Hey, thank you for joining us. We're in Broad Ripple at Brothers, night before Thanksgiving. Bud Lights, Blue Wednesday. Stuff for you to win here, including Colts tickets, Pro Shop gift cards, and more. Football toss happening. We are loaded up. I know it seems far away because this is still a Wednesday, but on Sunday, you've got a must-win. Thank you very much. You get the Texans and the Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium back after basically a month of inactivity at Lucas Oil Stadium after the high school football state title games Friday and Saturday. Texans, Colts coming up on Sunday. Normally on Thursday he joins us, but Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59 is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline right now. Well, happy pre-Thanksgiving to you, Mike, and I guess I'll start with this. Limited in participation, fibula situation, quarterback Daniel Jones did we see that affect his game on Sunday in Kansas City, and then what about the future, especially Sunday against the Texans?
Yeah, we need to get used to this limited thing at least once a week, I think, with Jones. It's going to be, whether you want to call it load management, whether it's managing an injury, whatever the injury is. We pressed Daniel Jones today. I'm telling you, people think we ask dumb questions or soft questions. A couple of us asked Daniel, one after another, about when did you have the injury, and we're not going to find out what the injury is, but he wouldn't even tell us when it happened. It just sort of was hanging around, and it happened. Did it happen in the Atlanta game in Berlin when they had the bye? Then he came back and practiced full on that Wednesday. Then he was limited last week. So get used to it. And we don't know. You know, I go back and forth on, is it bothering? I think it is bothering him in the game. But he started, what was he in the first half? 10 of 12 for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then he had a good series or two in the third quarter, and then it just went to heck in a hurry. So yes, it's something. I mean, it's something. We won't know what it is until January when they say either nothing or, yeah, well, you guys know he had surgery on his fibula, which, you know, could be something that happens. But it's something, and get used to him being limited at least once during the week, but he'll play. And if they get the Daniel Jones for the first 3 quarters, they're fine. They are fine. But you cannot have that fourth quarter overtime where the entire offense went to sleep. So, yeah, we'll see. But the fibula, it's something. It will be something. I don't get the impression that this is something that's going to heal itself while you're playing on it. So he'll have to deal with this for the rest of the season.
Why'd they feel compelled last week to mention calf first and then a day later go to the fibula?
Well, I understand that because, you know, he comes to him in practice on Thursday and says, hey, my calf's hurt. So then when the report comes out, that's what it is. And then when they did further evaluations, it turns out to be the fibula. So now whether there's a fracture, a hairline fracture, I don't know. Is there a bone bruise? I don't know. It's something. But that's why it was listed as a calf initially, because he said my calf's bothered me. So then further exam showed it to be the fibula.
Who had more of a problem in the fourth quarter on Sunday dealing with the pressure? Was it Daniel Jones on the field or Shane Steichen on the sideline with what Steve Spagnuolo and Kansas City was doing to pressure them?
Yeah, it impacted them both. It really did. I think it got to the point to where and Shane is such an aggressive coach. I wonder if on that one, I still think if you give him a do-over, he's going for it on 3rd and 3 from the 45, from the Chiefs 45. He would. I believe that. But I just it's a really good question. It's a chicken or the egg. It's got to start with Daniel Jones not handling things well enough. And then Shane Steichen says, well, he's not handling things well enough. So, but then if that's the case, hindsight again, you give the ball to JT a little bit more and don't lean on a quarterback that at that time wasn't playing well. So, yeah, it's you walk away from that game upset, but I tell you, you have to believe, and this is the sunny side of it, is who in the AFC can they not beat? And there's nobody. They had the Chiefs on the ropes a couple of plays, and they put them away. So I'm encouraged by that. But, and we may have talked about this last week, this is the game. Houston's the game. This will tell us a whole lot about the Colts, a whole lot about the AFC South. Let's keep in mind they go to Jacksonville next week, and the last time they won there has been like 10 or 11 years. So this game on Sundays is monstrous. Is it must win? It's you better win. It's not win or else. But they've got to get the bleeding stopped. Losing 2 out of 3 is one thing. Losing 3 out of 4 with road games at Jacksonville and Seattle, that's something different.
If they lose on Sunday, Mike, they're in incredibly deep. You know what? Let's just face it. That's what makes this must. Yeah.
And again until you get the pass protection and trouble with the blitzes fixed. And this is a team. I'm not sure how much Houston blitzes because they don't need to. They've got 2 of the best edge guys in the game. So if you give Jones protection enough, quarterbacks get rushed because that's what defenses do. But we saw the first 8 games. They averaged 33 points a game, and now it's down to 23 points a game, and it's directly tied to his stats falling off pretty dramatically. So this is a protection thing. It is. And until they get it fixed, teams are just going to say, you can't keep us out of your backfield. And if you can't keep teams out of your backfield and you're having trouble running the ball, although they ran the ball like a son of a gun in Berlin with JT. But 2 of the last 3 games, they've not run the ball well. So, the best way to slow down a pass rush is run the ball and get a lead and run the ball. So we'll see. And this is a great defense both ways. There's not a lot of weaknesses to it. So this will be, I mentioned on our podcast today, this is going to be a rock fight. This is going to be one where they're throwing rocks and sticks and all that stuff at each other. And which one can stand there and take it and walk away a win.
So Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59, you referenced Anderson and Hunter coming from the outside, but we should probably bring up they got some playmaking ability in that secondary. We talk about the Colts secondary with the name recognition and at least my level of expectation from that group, but Houston can get it done in the back end of their defense as well.
Yeah, and that's why, if you can have a good balance to where you can run the ball when you want to and throw it when you want to, not when you have to. And if you're running the ball semi-decent, you're not in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 normally. But, yeah, there's not a lot of weaknesses, if any weaknesses, on this Houston team. Again, I think what's kind of funny is, and it'll be a contrast, is the Colts and the Texans each have 33 sacks. I mean, we always talk about how great of a pass rush team this is. But the difference is they've got 2 guys that's got, 21 and a half of them. And the Colts are a sack by committee, which is great. But I always like to have a couple guys I know that can tear up a game. And this is, I always go back to this, and it's the unfair part of the NFL or of football is that Will Anderson only needs to win like 2 plays. And Daniel Hunter only needs to win like 2 plays. And Braden and Bernie Ryman, they can be spot on for 58 plays. And if they get beat twice, it can wreck the game. But that's why those pass rushers get paid like they do. That's why Myles Garrett has 18 sacks. 18 sacks, for crying out loud. They just wreck games. And there's going to be bad plays on Sunday. There are. You just need to make sure that the bad plays aren't strip sack, lost fumble, that is just a sack for 6 yards. and then you move on. Houston's going to make you look bad sometimes. They make everybody look bad. They got to Josh Allen 8 times. That's crazy. So, but until you get the protection fixed, it's a problem. And Daniel Jones, most quarterbacks are not good enough to stand up to that kind of pressure.
Hey, two-part question here. How do you think the secondary played a week ago? And is this finally going to be the secondary and the defensive coordinator to be able to do a damn thing with Nico Collins on Sunday?
I know. I still have visions of him running down the middle of the field on a 70 or 80-yard touchdown when the corner got beat and the safety was late. Yeah, I like the defense, and I didn't blame the defense for Sunday, although it gave up almost 500 yards. It was on the field for 90 plays, 90. And somebody like Mahomes is going to make you pay with, 3 or 4 plays, and he did. In the fourth quarter and overtime, there was one where I think Kenny Moore got beat down the middle by, I think it was Rashee Rice, I think. And then Gardner, one of them slipped on a crosser and got beat. So I like this defense. I think that they'll do a decent job of limiting Nico Collins, although Nico Collins is good. He's going to make plays. But I do feel good for the first time that we're not going to see Nico Collins running free and having, 180, 190. And if that's the case, again, I don't think Houston can win a track meet against the Colts, although I don't think this will be a track meet. It's going to come down again, just like we saw in Kansas City. Make 3 plays, make 4 plays. Mahomes did, because Mahomes almost always does. And in that game, Jones didn't. And fair or not, that's what the league's about. If you make those 3 or 4 plays, if you give Mahomes 91 plays, he's going to make 3 or 4 plays that break your back. So I'm looking forward to Sunday just to find out what this team can do moving forward. Because if this thing spirals out of control, and it can. Let's not kid ourselves. Who knows what happens in the offseason? But there's still so much this team can do. Win the division, host a playoff game. They get in the playoffs, and again, I'm not sure who I'd say, well, they can't beat those guys. There aren't those teams in AFC this year at all.
Hey, in closing, who most concerns you in the rear view within the South with 2 games remaining with both, Jacksonville or Houston?
Jacksonville. I don't trust Trevor Lawrence at all. But they've got a much easier schedule. I think they still play Tennessee twice, I think, and the Jets, I think. So, yeah. And again, boy, I think this team is good enough to win in Jacksonville. But, boy, you'd be crazy putting your mortgage payment down on the Colts in Jacksonville. You'd be crazy. I still remember Cody Kessler beating them. Jacksonville, because they're closer, and I just think the Colts win Sunday. But it's how comfortable would you be putting money on the finish of this season? Because again, the Colts finish is like 4th or 5th most difficult schedule in the league. They took care of the first half when it was easier. Now they got to buckle up and win some tough games.
Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. Good to be able to see you again in the press box for the first time in a month. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been like 35 days, for crying out loud. Wow.
Yeah, it has been something, no doubt about that. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the family in Beech Grove, and we'll see you on Sunday, Mike.
You guys be well and have a safe and happy Thanksgiving yourself.
You got it. Mike Chappell of CBS 4 and Fox 59. It is the Andy Moore Automotive Group line. This is Brothers Bar and Grill. We're on Broad Ripple today on a Bud Light Blue Wednesday. We'll come back, close up things with you coming up on the other side. Do not go anywhere. It is going to be a busy weekend, too. I will outline still how you can join us because I do have no JMV takeover on Saturday night, but we do have the ride to kick off at the Bullseye EventGroup.com Colts VIP tailgate. coming up on Sunday morning beginning at 9 a.m. More on that. Do not go anywhere. Stream the app, HD Radio. Become a AAA member today. You or somebody in your family, a gift-giving idea. The support on the open road, especially with weather on the inbound like this. Become a AAA member today. Stop by your local AAA office or AAA.com. It's 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Holy hand grenade. Yes, of course. The holy hand grenade of Antioch. Right. 1, 2, 5. Freezer. 3.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I'm going to tell you, when Schuler spreadability is a must, you can go ahead and put that on the Thanksgiving table. Reginald sharp cheddar bacon and cheddar jalapeno pepper when Schuler spreadability. Neiman's Harvest Market that has outstanding meat too, Neiman's. Meyer location, state of Indiana. Gordon's Food Service as well. The ultimate spreadability and snacking at an elite level. That is Win Schuler's. I got to do this right now, brother. Thank you, though. Win Schuler's spreadability. Yeah, put it on that Thanksgiving Day table. Do that for you tomorrow. Thank me later for it, too. I got to thank everybody here, including our friends from Zinc and Bud Light, all the familiar faces we have seen so far today, and so many of the new faces we have seen. The football toss is going on right now, and we've been giving away a lot of stuff, too. Colts tickets. We've been giving away Colts Pro Shop gift cards. You know, with this football toss, you can win a trip to Vegas and maybe win Super Bowl tickets as well. I was thinking about that the other day, too. One of the chief reasons why I would love to see the Colts push this thing to the limit, much like we saw with the Pacers going back to last year into the postseason, into the NBA Finals, was because, man, Bullseye puts on one hell of a show at the Super Bowl, and Santa Clara this year would be a great time. Just saying. Pacers later on tonight, 7:30 tip time, 7 o'clock coverage begins right here on The Fan. The Pacers and the Toronto Raptors later on this evening. 239-1070 is the number, and Ike is up next today. Hello, Ike. How are you?
How you doing this evening, JMV?
Great, Ike. Great to hear from you.
I got a question about the IU Hoosiers.
Yes.
And the, basketball and football. I seen this bull running around at the games, and I was wondering what that was all about.
It is a bison, and that is, it was, I think for 1 year, they went with a bison as a mascot, and they have brought that back. And I think it coincides with certainly the excitement around the football team. It seems like that everybody loves it. Now, I think about bison. I don't know about you, Ike. I think about it in a different fashion. I think about it from how much I love bison meat. I don't know about you. I'm a big-time fan of grilling some bison. But it has been, I think, well received in this first season back. But I think it went back, I want to say back in the 70s. Maybe they had it for a season or such. But they brought it back, and I think it's gone over well.
I thought a bison was a buffalo, right?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I guess same thing, right? So.
Yeah, well, I thought that was Colorado, so I was kind of, I wasn't feeling it.
I mean, it was for a very short time. I thought it was just a season, but a very short time. It was the mascot. It was a mascot for IU, and they brought it back, and I think it's been very popular.
Okay, then I was just wondering what it was, but I ain't really feeling it myself.
You're not liking the bison?
No, it's something that, it's Johnny come lately, so I ain't feeling it. It was something that we had all along. Then I'd say, okay.
Yeah, what? Hey, Ike, man, let's remember where they are, though, Ike. I mean, this is all new stuff here. You know what I mean? It's all new stuff.
The winning is new in football.
So this is how you create. I know, but this is how you create. This is how you create real memories. Also, when it coincides with winning. So, Ike, have a great Thanksgiving, man. Thank you for the call.
JMV, thank you.
You got it. Great Thanksgiving to all of you out there. Dev, great job out of you. Kevin and Chris Hammer in the house. Thank you, guys. James, have a great Thanksgiving back at the studio. Okay, brother?
You too, John.
All right. What do we got coming up next? Do I even know?
We've got the Colts Daily Update, and then we've got Instant Replay that will take you right into Pacers pregame.
I gotcha. I'll be back with you coming up on Sunday morning at 9. That is the ride to kick off. Everybody out there have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Thank you to Zinc, Bud Light, everybody here, Brothers in Broad Ripple. Outstanding holiday. Thank you for joining us. Talk to you on Sunday morning, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.